Hill. We just opened our DC office about 10 months ago. We are based out of the University of California, San Diego. We came out of their tech transfer department, and really the catalyst behind creating Connect was trying to help the research that went on in the tech transfer field, moving it a step further to actual startup company formation, small business formation, and job creation in the Southern California region. We have helped over 2,000 companies develop in the Southern California market. You can see some issues there. And the focus of opening our Washington, D.C. office after 25 years in San Diego was to really help educate the Hill and the administration on what does startup innovation mean in the tech field, what does small businesses go through as they grow in the tech field. And obviously right now Congress has a big focus on startup formation, job creation, and small business. And so we really think we have some interesting opportunities to share real-life stories of San Diego startup companies in the tech field that can help you think through policy issues that you're working on. Now, San Diego is fortunate because we don't have one specific technology that dominates. We have a different array of technologies. At our heart of San Diego is our research labs, and each of these little dots represents one form or another of either a public or private research lab. When we made this slide, there were only 50. We are now up to 70 research labs in the San Diego area, and then all that research develops technology that can then be commercialized and developed in startup companies. For years, the defense and security industry had anchored our tech labs, and there you see all the various companies. We have a very strong IT wireless software sector, life sciences. You can see some of the companies that have grown there. Our most recent area that's developing is the sports and action industry. We held a briefing in September talking about development of startup companies in sports and action. And what we're finding in San Diego is that we've got a lot of surfers, skaters, bikers that think, you know, I can make a better surfboard, I can make a better skateboard, I can make a better helmet. And they're just starting their own company and realizing that not only can they have fun doing what they're doing, but they can make a living off of it. And so we're helping that sector grow. And then today we're here to talk about the energy and environment sector. We've got our companies, Biofuels and Sapphire Energy, presenting today. San Diego is the hub of the solar industry in California, but we are now growing into other areas. We're the leader in the biofuels algae space in California, and we think in the country. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in San Diego. And what we discovered is not only are startup companies developing, but different associations that focus on different kinds of technology. So Biocom is like the National Bio Organization, focuses on life science. Here we have Clean Tech San Diego and the San Diego Center for Algae and Biotechnology. Again, convergence of different kinds of technologies and realizing that there's an important work to be done together across technologies. Last year we won the Regional Innovation Cluster Award by the U.S. Department of Commerce. And here's one of the things that we've discovered in San Diego County that we think is really appropriate for what Congress is doing right now, looking at how to get the economy going again, how to get job creation really taking hold. In the tech sector, what we found in San Diego County was that it's only 5% of the employers, only about 10% of all the jobs in San Diego County, but that makes up 25% of the wages in San Diego County, and those wages are 95% higher than the average wage. So we think just a little bit of work in the development of tech startups really has huge payoff in the number of wages and the kinds of wages that are out there. And that's where you'll hear the term gazelle companies, startup companies, and what we are hoping you guys will get to see a little bit today are young companies that are trying to grow, that have that opportunity to be a gazelle company that can quickly scale and quickly grow. And so that's what we have for Connect. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Tim Zenk, who is the Vice President at Sapphire, one of our San Diego companies. He's going to be talking about algae biofuels, and then I'll come up later and introduce Buster Biofuels, and they work on biodiesel. But now here's Tim Zenk.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you very much. Glad to be here with you all today. I better put this over here. It's going to slide off. Sapphire Energy was founded about in 2007 with the simple idea that there had to be a better way to do biofuels. And we went on a broad scientific search to try to isolate the best organism that could produce drop-in replacement hydrocarbon fuels. Now, our focus is on the development of hydrocarbon fuels. That isn't to say that we don't need all types of energy. We're focused specifically on one sector of that space. We landed on the business of algae specifically because we felt that it had the ability to offer a scalable solution that's unique to kind of the alternative energy space. And we landed on algae in particular because its properties that allow us to produce a drop-in replacement fuel, a dense hydrocarbon fuel, molecularly identical to gas, diesel, jet. It happens to be climate compliant, something that you can produce on a low-carbon basis, and something that can directly affect our energy insecurity issues as we certainly face them today. And I think it's interesting to note that Secretary Mavis today pointed out at a news conference that, in fact, like a half hour ago, that every $10 increase in the barrel of oil equals about $300 million in additional costs to just the Navy. So over the course of the last 3 months, the additional costs on just energy use for the United States Navy has increased by $1 billion. So it's not just energy insecurity that the Navy and the Department of Defense are struggling with. It's also the price fluctuations, the dramatic fluctuations that the Navy faces, and the Air Force for that matter. So when we talk about energy insecurity, there are a lot of components to it, and it's not all about geopolitical issues. Now, we were funded in 2007 as a company that wanted to bring to market some advanced biofuels. We have facilities throughout Southern California, one in Orange County, one in San Diego, another large outdoor research center in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which just happens to be ground zero for algae. It's a combination of the perfect combination of sunlight and the large availability of salt water in the desert. We have a very large research center there, and we're building a commercial demonstration in partnership with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Department of Energy in Columbus, New Mexico as well. We've raised over $200 million, and our funders are the Gates Family Trust, the Rockefeller Family Trust, the Wellcome Family Trust from the United Kingdom. So patient investors, because this needs to be a patient business. Energy is not easy to do, and it requires a tremendous amount of capital. So when you think about energy solutions, you need to think about it in terms of these kind of points. Can the technology that we're developing be scaled? And when I mean scale in the terms of energy, we're talking, can you produce hundreds of millions of gallons and hundreds of thousands of barrels a day? That's the scale we have to think about. We use about 15 million barrels a day of crude oil in the United States. So the scale is important. And one of the reasons we selected algae as a good organism to produce hydrocarbons is it goes directly to scale. The other issue, obviously, we want to address and have to deal with is that the first barrel of oil we produce has to compete with the marginal barrel of crude oil coming out of the ground. So cost competitiveness is important. Fungibility, we have about $14 trillion in infrastructure that processes, refines, distributes, and uses hydrocarbon-based fuel products. So we need to leverage that existing infrastructure, because I don't think anybody here wants to establish another $14 billion trading system in order to distribute a new form of energy. So let's leverage the compatibility and the fungibility of the existing infrastructure and the technology that goes in it. Of course, climate compliance is important, especially in the state of California, but throughout the world. And another important issue for many is the public policy issue of not competing with existing agricultural markets, food, and water. So why algae? So primarily, it meets those criteria: scalability, cost competitiveness, the ability to build drop-in replacement fuels that can connect to the existing infrastructure, favorable life cycle, and doesn't compete with those agricultural products or land or water. But another reason is that it produces tremendous amounts of biomass. And over 400 million years ago, there was a great algae bloom on the planet Earth. And the planet, it was one of the first organisms to grow. It gave off a tremendous amount of oxygen. It's the oxygen we breathe today on this planet, and it resulted in all the crude oil that we use today. And so what we know about biology is if it's been done before by Mother Nature, we can do it again, especially with advanced biology. So we're leveraging the organism's natural properties to produce hydrocarbons. And the other thing we're leveraging is its ability to produce large amounts of biomass and product compared to other technologies out there. Waterborne agriculture is one of the largest industries in the world in terms of the agricultural marketplace. We have about 375 million acres of water-based ag, and it's primarily in the form of rice. And it's actually an energy crop if you think about it, because 27% of the world's dietary energy comes from rice. So we know a lot about rice, we know a lot about waterborne agriculture, and our job as scientists at Sapphire Energy is to create that intersection between biotechnology, agriculture, and energy, and grow it in a mechanized form like production agriculture does today to develop rice, but do that with algae. You know, I talked a lot about scale, and I think scale is very important, especially as we talk about the issues of energy. And this is an example of land use to scale, and algae and other forms and other technologies that are out there. One of the advantages of algae is that we don't require a very heavy land print, and the lands that we do require are non-agricultural lands, desert conditions, coastal inland deserts. This isn't to say these other technologies aren't valid and viable. They are. We need it all. I mean, we face an inflection point here in the next 20 years. And the inflection point is we don't have enough energy production in the world to sustain our need. Our demand for energy is enormous. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. That's why the Defense Quadrennial Review specifically for the first time cites energy as a key strategic issue that the Department of Defense is concerned about. And that's why the Department of Defense has reached out and begun to look for alternatives and develop certification processes for other fuels on their airframes and all of their various weapon systems. So from a strategic geopolitical standpoint, it's best to grow it here at home and create our own energy system that makes us dependent on ourselves and not others. It gives us tremendous latitude as a nation from a geopolitical standpoint if we do that. So I think there can be no better example than the unrest in the Middle East today for why we need to spend time on this issue. It's a very important one for our country. So one of the reasons we're able to raise the kind of money that we were able to inject into our project was because of our patent position. We control about 45% of all the patents in the space, and we have 3 times as many patents as any other company in the algae space. Patent protection is important. It's important on a global scale. It's important for companies like us. It allows us to raise the venture dollars and the equity dollars we need to build a new energy system. Without patent protection, we would not have the ability to raise the kind of capital we need to bring this technology online.